All right, hey guys, today I'm going to teach you how to make a mandala magnet tutorial. These are another one of my best sellers. I don't know why people like them so much. They're super simple and super fun to make, and so I'm going to show you how to make them. So we're going to be doing a rainbow palette. I already made this one, but I'm just going to show you the colors that we're using. We are going to be using dragon fruit as the pink. If this is too see-through, you can go ahead and add a drop of any red. It kind of heightens it a little bit. We're going to be using bright orange. Saffron yellow. This is sometimes hard to find, but it's always on the Deco Art website. Sour apple. Calypso blue. And purple pizzazz. Outside of these colors, I always use puffy paints, so Scribbles. The gold, specifically this color, is my favorite gold. It's just really bright and really easy to use. It has a really great texture, and so this is what we're going to be using. So I've already put on my guide marks. If you need help putting these on, you can check out my tutorial on how to use them. This is a 4-inch round of wood. You can get everything through my Amazon storefront. So the first thing I'm going to do here is take the Scribbles paint, and we're just going to put it on that inner circle. We're going to make it nice and full. And then using the blue tool, I'm just going to pat it down a little bit, just so that it fills up the circle. Then I'm just going to swivel this around just to kind of flatten it out a bit. It also creates this really pretty swirly pattern in the middle that I personally really like. Okay, so to start our rainbow, we are going to be starting with the red. And I always like to start using the small end of the pink tool. I think it's the most precise. So yeah, small end. I'm just going to give this a little shaky. And then not pressing all the way down onto the wood, but hovering just over it. We're going to just place the dots and take your time. I mean, this takes me a long time because I'm kind of a perfectionist. But we just want to hover over the wood. Okay, beautiful. Now, using the same side of the pink tool, we're going to dip into that bright orange color. And this time, I'm just going to add more pressure. So same side of the tool, we're just going to add more pressure. I've noticed with the oranges from Deco Art that they tend to be on the watery side. And so watch it here because it can accidentally spill everywhere, and that gets a bit annoying, but you can always wipe it off and start again. Okay, And then popping on to the yellow. Now we're gonna switch to the big side of the pink tool. And same thing, taking your time, trying to get in between all of the previous dots that we put on there. If you're first starting to do this, hello, welcome. This, for me, has always been the hardest part to learn. I don't know why. For some reason, brush strokes always came very naturally to me. Maybe it's just the wrist motion. But these center dots, I had to work so hard to get these in a pretty, space. And so sometimes I can see, like, if it's not going to match up perfectly, I will jump a dot and then come back and kind of like fill it in. So there are no rules here, kids. But yeah, so if you don't get it right away, don't get frustrated. We have all been there. Some people pick it up really easily. I was not one of them. Okay, great. Moving on to the green color. So sour apple. I'm just gonna go ahead and open all of these. Save me some time. We are gonna switch to the large end of the blue tool. This has to be one of my favorite greens. This green is so pretty. And again, we're just gonna hover over. We want to get a lot of paint on our tools. If for some reason your paint is starting to feather, or if it's starting to doesn't look really round, you need more paint on your tool. Don't be afraid. Get that sucker in there. I feel like a rookie mistake that I made when I was first starting this is to not use enough paint because I was scared of making mistakes. Really get that out of your head. This is all about making mistakes. People that do these and make it look so amazing and so professional, they've been doing it for years. And trust me, when they first started, it was not very good. So don't judge yourself. And I'm sure that y'all's is already better than mine. So don't even worry. We're starting to see the rainbow come out a bit. I love that. Okay, to the blue. We're going to take the green tool, the large end of the green tool. And this is going to be our last row of dots. And you'll see why in a second. We do want to leave a good amount of space so that we can fit some brush strokes in there. And so this will be our last up, but we're going to continue the rainbow colors. Okay, perfect. What I'm going to do now is taking that puffy paint that we used for the center, I'm just going to add some micro dots in between that blue to kind of round out the whole shape. Okay, Looks good. Now we're going to go in with that purple tool. I'm going to be taking the largest clear flat tool that I have. This is a reminder to clean your tools. And we're going to dot every other. We're going to go right above those blue dots. Make sure you've got a good amount of paint on there. And we're going to do every other line. This is an 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes. This is an 8-line guide mark that I used. These also come in that same pack that you would get. Okay. I almost got on the wrong line. Okay, beautiful. Now, if you wanted to do everyone, you absolutely could. I tend to like a little bit of space because I tend to like more brush strokes in my mandalas pretty much always. So yeah, we're going to repeat the rainbow. And so I'm going to start with the small end of the pink tool. We're going to put a decent size amount of paint and we're just going to walk the dots down. The design that I'm making right now is probably one of the most common designs. It's obviously gorgeous. And so if you're struggling with this is a really easy thing to practice. Bust out some paper, bust out some paint. It's really good to use paint, like if you have leftover paint from whatever you were doing and you want to practice your dots and practice your brush strokes, this is a great time to do so. All right, moving on to the orange, I'm going to use the large end of the pink tool now. And I'm going to go up a guide mark and I'm going to walk it down. Am I getting out of center? I kind of do this little dab. So I'm going to go right at that upper guide mark. I'm going to walk it down. And I always do this little dab at the top dot because that's okay to be larger than the other. A lot of times if you don't have good paint control, it can look a bit wonky because too much paint comes down the end. So just to get rid of some excess paint when you're doing the second side, I always do a little dab on the center and then I walk it down. That's what I've found to be the best way. All right, let's hit it with the yellow. I'm going to switch tools here. I'm going to use the small side of the green tool. The trick to using the green tool is to wipe it off. This tool, for some reason, holds a lot of paint and your dots can start to get a little wonky. So if you feel like it's just holding on to too much paint, wipe it off. Take that extra second. It will be worth it. All right, so we're going to do one more. We're going to put that green on there. I'm going to be using the large end of the blue tool now. And we're going to use this blue. Right at the top. And walk it down. Oh, shoot. I meant to put the green one there, but let me show you how I fix messes like these. I'm just going to take a Q-tip. I'm just going to dip it in some water. And I'm just going to wipe it off. Not a big deal. Excuse me. This happens all the time. So buy Q-tips that that work for you. I like these pointy ones, but lots of people just use regular ones. All right. Wonderful. Now we're going to take the large end of the blue gel and we're going to go in the green. So this little circle is going to be cut in half a little bit. Not to worry. We're going to walk it down. Sometimes I actually really like the way it looks with it kind of running off the edge of the wood. It kind of adds a really funky, trippy aesthetic. All right. So now using the XDT brushes, these are my favorite brushes. We're gonna just continue this rainbow, but we're starting our brush strokes. Now, the easiest way, I think this is size 0. Now, the easiest way to do brush strokes, if you're really not sure about it, get your brush a little wet and practice before, and you can kind of see that silhouette. And that water dries quickly and you don't have to worry about it. So going in with the blue, the easiest way to get consistent brush strokes is to just follow the silhouette. So push down, and as you're getting towards the end, lifting that brush up. Your hands will naturally know what to do, I promise. So right as you're getting to the end, I'm just lifting my hand up. I highly recommend learning to do brush strokes. One, they're so much fun and you can get so creative with them. And two, it makes these mandalas go by a lot quicker. A lot of times if you're doing lots of dots, that can take up such a large amount of time. So I'm looking at the space we have here and it looks like we can fit 2 more brush strokes. So we're gonna do purple, pink, and then we'll be done with our brush strokes. So I'm gonna go slightly above the last guide mark here. We wanna make this look like it's opening. And we wanna get them as close to each other without touching. Like a flower petal, like a flower opening. Same thing, lifting your hand up as you're getting towards the end. You do always want to kind of be looking at the space in between, making sure that you're using the right amount of pressure to make sure that the same space is happening in between all of them. All right, beautiful. The last brush stroke we're gonna hit it with is that pink. And we're gonna go right at that last guide mark there. All right, perfect. We're gonna finish this up here. I'm gonna take my Scribbles Puffy paint and we're gonna do some swooshes to round this all out. So we do 3 dots. And as we're going through this, we are looking at the center of the 2 pink ones, not the line. When we erase these guide marks, that line is gonna be gone and our swooshes are gonna be a little bit off. So we wanna get the center of the pink. Perfect. Now, I'm using this very dirty pointer tool. If you can use the pink tool, the small end of the pink tool. That is going to give you the same silhouette. I just like this one because it's a longer handle, I guess. So we're just pushing it down. It's super simple. We just want to drag it down, following the silhouette of the pink. Don't overcomplicate your life. And then just to finish this little space here, I'm gonna go in, I think I'm gonna use the small end of the blue tool and I'm gonna go in that orange color. And I'm just gonna, do I wanna go this way? Yeah. I'm gonna add these tiny little embellishments. Which way did I go? Oh, this way. Okay. I normally always go the other way, but you gotta change it up sometimes. All right, I'm gonna add some super small dots in the center there. In the center of this here. And I think I am gonna make that into a swoosh. I just want to connect it a bit. All right. So there you guys have it, our little rainbow. I'm gonna let this dry and I'm gonna come back tomorrow and I'm gonna show you how I get that really pretty glossy sheen on it. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, so it's the next day and we're gonna wipe off those guide marks. So I just take a little bit of water, I put a little cloth in it. I do not recommend using anything paper. It will leave these fuzzies everywhere and it's very annoying. So microfiber, wet wipes is a good option as well. So use your best judgment. It comes off super, super, super easy. So we're just gonna give this a good wipe. Dry it off a little bit. Now, excuse me. If you're looking at this and you think that this is good, you think the colors look right, you can go on to the next step. I always like to add a little pop of metallics in here, and so I'm gonna do that. And so I have 3 colors that I'm gonna be using here. These are Color Shift by Folk Art. These paints are awesome. They're super bright, super brilliant. You'll see what I'm talking about. So I'm only gonna use 3 colors. I don't wanna overwhelm it with too much metallics. And so actually what I'm gonna do, because I'm not gonna be using that much, is I'm just gonna put the paint in the cap. I don't recommend, if you want to put these in a separate, like into a paint pot, that's totally fine. These paints can get quite expensive, and so I really suggest not wasting any of it. These are so beautiful. I don't use a lot of folk art paints. Sometimes I will use them to thicken up deco art. Deco art has like the perfect consistency for meat. A lot of people like different consistencies and stuff. So sometimes I use it, but when it comes to metallics, I have to say I think folk art has it down. It is a little bit of a weirder consistency of paint, but the color is awesome. And I mean, these are super popular. You can even get these at Walmart. So they're everywhere. Okay, great. I'm gonna add a small little brush stroke right there on that blue side. When we do these highlight brush strokes, we don't want to take up the whole space. We want to be able to see the color in the back. Awesome. I'm gonna move on to that purple color. This purple is one of my favorite colors to ever exist. I don't know what, excuse me, I don't know what, neon bug made this purple, but it's awesome. Again, these are totally optional. Sometimes I like the way that things look matte. You have to remember that we are gonna gloss everything up at the end, at the very, very end. And so if you like that matte look, go for it. this is just my, oh, I'm gonna add a little drop of purple in the middle there. So those little purple circles, might have to get a bigger tool. Yeah, be careful with this paint because it's very stringy. Okay, great. And then the very last paint we're gonna put on here is a pink. Now, I don't think that this pink is a perfect match for the pink that I have on there already, but it's the only pink I own, only metallic-y pink that I own, so we're just gonna use it and see. Oh yeah, that works. When these dry, the reason they're called color shift is they will dry, and as you kind of swivel them around, they're gonna change colors. And so the blue has purple, the purple has gray, I think, and then the pink has orange or something. Okay, we are just gonna let that dry for a couple minutes and then we're gonna add our glaze on top. Okay, so it's now dried. I'm gonna take the Deco Art Triple Thick Glaze and I'm gonna use a thicker brush. Now, I highly recommend using a brush that you're okay with getting very stiff. This comes off fairly easily with soap and water, but you will have to clean your brush immediately after you use this. But get your brush a little damp, and we're gonna add a lot of glaze. So you can pour it. I kind of like to let it drip a little bit. This is gonna add a really great layer. And then gently, we're just gonna push it. All right, when the glaze is on, it's gonna look something like this. Now, excuse me. You can just brush a thin layer of glaze on this, and it's gonna look really, really nice. I tend to like a thicker glaze because it kind of gives the aesthetic of resin, but you by no means mean to. When this is dry, it takes around, I would give it a solid 12 hours to dry. When it's dry, you're gonna have something like this. So super shiny, has like a really hard film over it. And yeah, so that's our tutorial. Thank you guys so much for hanging out and watching with me. I will see you guys next time. Bye.